Hello YouTube, my name is Nero, and today we have some more Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and what we're going to be talking about today is of course going to be COD Points, because they have returned here in Black Ops 3. I made a video talking about this just the other day, and it has taken the Call of Duty community by storm, the idea of COD Points returning, because they returned in a much different way. When they were first implemented in the Call of Duty, they were part of the original Black Ops, and they were actually an in-game currency that you earned by playing the game and completing contracts, and you used it for almost everything in the original Black Ops. You used these COD Points to purchase your weapons. That's how you unlock them. You had to level up to be able to unlock them, and then once you had them available to be purchased, you would purchase them with these COD points that you earned by playing the game and completing contracts and things like that. Same thing went for your camos, same things went for your kill streaks, same thing went for your attachments, same thing went for everything. These COD points were used for everything, and they finally brought them back because they have not touched COD points ever since the original Black Ops. You know, how many games have gone by where they just never touched the idea of COD points again? They finally bring them back here in Black Ops 3, but they come back serving a completely different purpose. They are now a currency for microtransactions. They are a currency that you can purchase for real money, and you can go ahead and you can purchase rare supply drops with these COD points, or you can purchase Liquid Divinium if you're a fan of zombies with these COD points, right? They're essentially kind of like an in-between currency, similar to Microsoft points a couple of years ago. If you guys remember Microsoft points, you would have to essentially spend real money to buy Microsoft points, and then you could use your Microsoft points to actually purchase things on the Xbox store. Kind of the same thing, but with COD points here in the Black Ops 3 multiplayer. So I'm going to cover both aspects of this, if I may. I'm going to cover the multiplayer aspect as well as the zombies aspect, which admittedly I'm not much of a zombies player, but I think I have a pretty good understanding of how this works, and we're going to be talking about that later on in the video, and I hope you guys will stay tuned for it. First things first, let's talk about the multiplayer. There has been so much uproar in the Call of Duty community, although I wonder if a lot of it actually comes down to a vocal minority about the idea of COD points returning. People have actually gone as far as to say that Black Ops 3 is dead, Treyarch has just killed their game, blah, 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 everything's horrible now because there's cosmetic microtransactions in the Black Ops 3 multiplayer. I would like to take this time to say, guys, just please relax on that. I mean, if you never played a game ever since 2013, every single game has skins now. Every single game has buyable microtransactions, with the vast majority of them being cosmetic. Now, Call of Duty has typically been pretty good with their microtransactions. I think Advanced Warfare was a bit different because in Advanced Warfare, you could purchase supply drops, which were about the same price. I mean, there's a slight difference there, but there's about the same price as the supply drops that we get here at Black Ops 3. But in Advanced Warfare, with the entire weapon variant system, there was actually a chance for you to get something very powerful. There were a lot of very good weapon variants in Advanced Warfare, including the Ball 27 Obsidian Steed, the Ball 27 Inferno, the SM1 Speakeasy, the AK-12 RAP, HPRA-3 Insanity. The list goes on and on and on. These were weapons that were actually statistically better than the other weapons in the game, and as a result, there was a bit of a pay-to-win aspect if you chose to purchase a bunch of supply drops in that game, because you could actually get weapons that were actually better than the weapons that your opponent could be using in the multiplayer. Here in Black Ops 3, it's a bit different, and it's a lot better of a way, in my opinion. I've actually seen some people disagree, because I mentioned that in my last video, saying I feel as though this system's a lot better because you're paying about the same price, but there's no real pay-to-win aspect to it. Some people are upset that there isn't a pay-to-win aspect, because why pay money if you're not going to get a distinct advantage, which I think that is just a weird way to look at it. Like, why would you look at it that way? Why would you want there to be pay-to-win in a video game? Why would you not want pay for cosmetics? Pay for fun is what people call it. Why would you not want that over a pay-to-win system? It just seems to make sense in my own mind. So what you can actually get here with these supply drops here in Black Ops 3 is all cosmetic. Now, what they've done is they made it so there's a bunch of different camos in the game. You have common camos, rare camos, epic camos, and legendary camos, not unlike the loot systems that you see in Diablo, the loot systems you see in Borderlands, the loot system you see in WoW, and things like that, right? These are very common across gaming, having common, rare, epic, and legendary skins. And what these skins are is they're just different looking camos that you can get via these supply drops. You can also, of course, get calling cards, and in some cases, you can actually get some new weapons, but these weapons are just reskins of already existing weapons in the game. So what they've done right now is they've taken the combat knife and they've actually reskinned it into some weapons that you can possibly get from these supply drops. So you can actually get a wrench, a big giant wrench that will one-hit people, but it's the exact same thing as a combat knife. You know, a combat knife will one-hit people, same thing as the wrench. It has its own distinct look, its own distinct model, its own distinct marker in the kill feed, and you also can get a butterfly knife, which actually looks pretty freaking awesome as well from these supply drops, which again, these are nothing but reskinned combat knives, and there's nothing to it. And a lot of people seem to be very upset about that because they want to have these reskins in the game itself. They want to be earnable in some way, and I understand that. I really do. I understand that people when when a new weapon comes to the game, they want to be able to earn it in some fashion, and it can be frustrating, especially if you're a big fan of Call of Duty and you're somebody that plays a lot, especially maybe if you're like a melee only player, to be able to see that there's a new wrench and there's a butterfly knife and they have these cool animations and whatnot, and you can't actually use them. That can be frustrating. I understand that. I think there might even be like a brass knuckles in the game as well right now. They add in a bunch of these new combat knife reskins, and I understand that people would be upset about that, but at the same time, you're not so much entitled to them. That's really the thing of it. Now, I think that there's two kinds of people who get really upset about cosmetic microtransactions in video games. Number one, which is the people I think the majority of this comes from, is people who feel entitled to a bunch of free stuff for purchasing the game, which, guys, that's not how the world works. That's not how everything works here. Now, I understand you want a way to earn that, and again, I agree, and maybe there should be a way to actually earn these things, especially if you're a melee-only player, right? If you get 1,000 kills with a combat knife, you should get a wrench. You should get a butterfly knife. Maybe if you get 1,000 kills, get yourself a butterfly knife. If you get 1,500 kills, you should be able to get yourself a wrench. If you get 2,000 kills, you should be able to get, I don't know, like the brass knuckles or something like that. That would make sense, and I think they should implement something like that. But if that system is not there, you, again, can't really complain and say that you're entitled to this because it's behind this paywall, an RNG paywall at that, in the form of a viable supply drop. You can't be too upset about that because you've already gotten the game. You've already have all the content in the game, and it's not as if Black Ops 3 is actually lacking any form of content. There are plenty of games out there where you put 6 hours into it for $60, then bam, you're done. You've seen everything there is to see. You've done just about everything that there is to do, whereas Black Ops 3 is very different. There is so much content in this game. It's actually probably the best Call of Duty game in terms of content, and I'm still sticking to my opinion that Black Ops 3 might actually be the best Call of Duty game to ever come out. There is, of course, campaign mode. There is, of course, the nightmare mode. There is, of course, multiplayer. There is zombies there, and then, of course, there's also the free run and everything else that goes along with that. So there's a lot of different things for you to do in Black Ops 3, and there's a ton of content in Black Ops 3 as compared to other games. And so as a result, you've got your money's worth, and everything else that comes with the game in the form of supply drops and microtransactions, that is just gravy, ladies and gentlemen. That is gravy. That is extra that if you want to pay for it, sure, but you're not in any way entitled to it. I think the other kind of person that gets upset about the idea of cosmetic microtransactions coming to a video game are maybe simply just people that don't have the means to acquire them. And that's understandable. I think we've all been there. Sometimes times are tough, right? Sometimes times are tough and you can't afford that, which is understandable. But it doesn't mean that other people shouldn't be able to get these new extra cosmetic things because you are not in a position to acquire them yourself. Right? That's just not how the world works. So I don't think there's really any reason to get upset about the idea of cosmetic microtransactions in Black Ops 3. I've seen the argument being brought up a lot, definitely a lot, that eventually they're going to start taking away crypto keys. Like, people are really like conspiracy theorists, like these tinfoil hats and everything. They're coming out of the woodworks here. They say that, yeah, they're going to start getting rid of crypto keys and make it so the only way you can get supply drops is by buying COD points. There's no evidence or reason for us to believe that whatsoever. Of course, it could happen. Anything's possible. Everything's within the realm of possibility, but I can guarantee you guys that's not going to happen. That would just be silly. The community backlash would be insane, and Treyarch is not known for doing that kind of evil thing. Now, maybe Infinity Ward would do something like that because I'm biased in that respect. I don't like Infinity Ward very much. Maybe they would do something along those lines, but I can never see Treyarch actually doing anything along those lines. I've also seen people saying that eventually they are going to add in weapons that are going to be supply drop only, like they saw in Advanced Warfare, and the only way to get them is by buying these rare supply drops with COD points, and they're going to be kind of put behind this RNG wall. And again, I don't see that exactly coming. Right now, they added in a bunch of extra cosmetic stuff, again, reskins for the combat knives, as well as a bunch of camos and a bunch of calling cards. Like, right now, that's all we've really gotten out of these supply drops. I don't expect in the future for them to actually change that around and start putting in actual weapons, like bringing back throwback weapons from their previous games, like bringing back the FAMAS or the AK-74U or anything like that, and then putting it behind that paywall. I don't see them doing that like Advanced Warfare did, which I think Advanced Warfare left a bad taste in everybody's mouth in that respect because they add in these really cool weapons, which, to be fair, a lot of them were just straight up reskins, but they added a bunch of these weapons into Advanced Warfare's multiplayer, but they were only available via supply drop, and people would purchase hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of these supply drops and never actually acquire it. I'm already seeing it now, whereas a bunch of YouTubers doing supply drop openings, trying to get themselves a butterfly knife, and then they spend hundreds upon hundreds of dollars, and they actually never end up getting a butterfly butterfly knife, which is kind of hilarious because I was in that same boat last year with Advanced Warfare when I would do my advanced supply drop opening videos. But one thing to keep in mind, when you're a YouTuber, it's okay to do that kind of a thing because it's all a business, all right? The Call of Duty is a business. YouTube is a business for a lot of us out here on YouTube. And so as a result, when we purchase hundreds upon hundreds of dollars in supply drops, the reason why we do that is because we're going to make more than that back from the videos that we make opening up those supply drops, right? That's how YouTube works. Those are some of the best monetized videos on YouTube for those guys who aren't in the know, because how YouTube works is you actually earn more money from your videos the longer people kind of watch them, and the audience retention on supply drop openings is insane, so much so that you can purchase, if you have a decent sized channel, you can purchase $100 plus worth of supply drops, open them all up in a 30-minute video and make more than that back from that one video, which is kind of insane in some respects. So that's the YouTube end of it. That's not designed for the average Joe who just likes to play Call of Duty in the weekend to do. No one's expecting you to open up 100 supply drops. The reason why we YouTubers do it is because we can make a profit on it, while at the same time we can get a bunch of cool stuff to use to make other videos out of, while at the same time you guys get an entertaining video to watch. That's kind of like the give and take of it. It's a big trade-off, right? It's definitely a risk for some channels because some channels don't actually make that return on their investment, but at the same time a lot of people probably do because they just like playing Call of Duty and they want to purchase a bunch of skins, and they have the means to do so because of course it's tax deductible, because again YouTube is a business. So when you see people buying a ton of these supply drops and stuff online, and you see them in these videos, that is not the average case. That is an exception to the rule. That's not what the majority of people do. In fact, I think some people may purchase $10 worth of supply drops. They may purchase $20 worth of supply drops every now and then. Like maybe they just got their paycheck, maybe they have a bit of disposable income, maybe they want to purchase $20 worth of supply drops, and that's perfectly okay. That's what the system is there for, right? That is what the system is there for. That is what the system is designed to do. It's not designed for us to purchase hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of them trying to get a weapon. It's there just for RNG, and it's there for fun. And again, none of us are entitled to the things we see inside those supply drops. Another argument I see so often is people complaining that if they're taking all this time to make all of this cosmetic stuff, they could actually be using that time to actually make actual content within the game in the form of new maps, new weapons, and new zombies and things like that. But what people don't understand about game development is the art team is not actually responsible for a lot. The reason why you see a lot of day one DLC in video games, and the reason why you see so many cosmetic microtransactions in video games, especially early on in the game's life cycle, is a lot of that stuff was made towards the end of the game's life cycle, when the game itself is pretty much finished and they're basically doing quality assurance testing and they're doing bug testing and bug fixes and whatnot to get the game ready for launch. During that time, the art team doesn't actually do a whole lot because the game itself is pretty much made. They're not coding. They're not out there doing the stuff to make sure that the quality assurance for the game is right and that the game is actually going to work on launch. They're there just kind of really doing nothing. So they put them to work making these cosmetic microtransactions, making these cosmetic skins and whatnot, and they put that into the game, and then they sell those in the game, and it kind of gives the art team something to do, while at the same time it makes a bunch of extra content in the game for people who are willing and able to purchase it, right? That's why that kind of stuff is there. So I see nothing wrong with the idea of cosmetic microtransactions in Call of Duty. I see nothing wrong with COD points being purchasable, especially at the price. The price isn't brilliant. It's not an amazing price, but it's roughly the same price as what we had in Advanced Warfare last year without the pay-to-win aspect, which I think is actually a bit better. And yeah, I don't really see anything wrong with it. A lot of the complaints that people have about the COD point system, a lot of complaints that people have about these supply drops are just tinfoil hat people being crazy. Like people just making up wild assumptions, like the idea that crypto keys are going to stop existing, or the idea that people are going to start earning crypto keys less, like they're going to scale back our ability to earn crypto keys, make it so we earn less and less and less of them every single game until we're kind of forced to purchase these supply drops with COD points. None of this stuff has happened. None of this stuff is probably going to happen. It doesn't make any sense for them to do that. The other idea that they're going to start adding weapons into supply drops that are kind of behind that supply drop paywall, and maybe perhaps some of those weapons could be a bit more powerful. Like for example, let's say they were to bring back, what was a really good gun from Black Ops 2? Let's say they were to bring back the MSMC and make it a weapon that you could only get via supply drop, and once you actually get out of there, it's not just a reskin, it's actually just a very powerful weapon, and people that were lucky enough to get it can dominate the battlefield. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's the situation that we have right now, especially if you look at how it is right now. There's no reason to believe that that's going to happen in the future. If it happens, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We'll discuss it then. We'll see what we can do about it then, but right now, there's no reason reason to believe that's going to be the case. They have added in some weapons into supply drops. All these weapons are cosmetic, guys. All of these weapons are just reskins of the combat knife, and the rest of it is just a bunch of camos, a bunch of calling cards, and a bunch of decals for your emblem editor. There is no reason to start freaking out right now. No reason whatsoever. I can understand the perspective of some of you guys out there that would really want to see a lot of these things become earnable. I think it would be nice if they were to implement that. That would be a great way to win back the community favor. That would be a great PR thing for them to do, would be make it so these things, not only are they available via supply drops and advanced supply drops as kind of a RNG shortcut, but also make it so that the wrench and the butterfly knife and the brass knuckles, make it so all these things are earnable somehow in the game. That would be nice. Will they do that? I don't know. They are not entitled, once again, whatsoever to actually do that, because they've already given us a great game and everything else is just gravy. This is just a skin, right? These are just skins. They may look like new weapons, but they're just a reskin. It's just a combat knife that looks different. That's all it is, guys. So we're not entitled to that whatsoever. Just try to keep that in mind. I'm not entitled to it. I'm not going to get upset. I'm saving up all my crypto keys, and I purchased a bunch of COD points. I'm going to be doing a massive supply drop opening video on Christmas Eve. I think that's going to be a fun video to do. And I'm not going to be upset if I don't get a wrench in there. I'm not going to be upset if I don't get a butterfly knife, because I'm not entitled to it. It's all complete RNG. I'm looking forward to maybe getting some new gestures. I want some new boasts and stuff like that for the end of the game. I want some new cambos for some of the guns I like to play with. That's what I'm really looking for. If I happen to get a knife, if I happen to get a wrench or anything like that, then cool, that's great. I'm looking forward to the possibility of getting that, but by no means do I feel entitled to get that, which I think a lot of people have that weird self-entitlement where they feel like they're entitled to more than they really are, which in reality, guys, you really aren't. Let's talk about zombies. Let's talk about the Liquid Divinium. That situation is a bit different than the multiplayer. Now, I am not much of a zombies player, but apparently how it works is with your Liquid Divinium, you can create Gobblegum, right? You can create very good versions of Gobblegum via Liquid Divinium, which you actually get by playing zombies, and you acquire from like opening doors or using a pack-a-punch or just doing all different things within zombies. And apparently how it worked was there was actually a cap of 2 Liquid Divinium per match, and the reason why apparently they wanted to cap it was they did not want people to be able to exploit it and then be able to get a bunch of ridiculous great pieces of Gobblegum, and then as a result make zombies very easy for themselves, especially when they're playing online with other people and whatnot. That's a weird system. It really is, because what they've done with this is they made it so you can actually purchase Liquid Divinium with your COD points, which is a bit odd, because at first they capped it so you can only have 2 pieces of Liquid Divinium. You can only get 2 of them per match that you play at the most. Like, you're not even guaranteed 2 per match. At most, you can get 2 per match. And now they made it so you can just purchase as many as humanly possible, as much money as you actually want to spend. You can purchase more and more and more and more Liquid Divinium, which is a bit odd in my opinion. I, again, don't know too much about zombies, but that does seem like a pretty messed up system, because there's a lot of people, especially I saw in the comments of my last video, that were discussing the idea that zombies is their favorite aspect of Black Ops 3. They love playing zombies. They're like already like 3rd prestige in zombies and so on and so forth. And it's kind of a low blow if you're a zombies player for anybody to just be able to go out there and purchase a ton of Liquid Divinium and actually get these advantages, which are going to be like these really good versions of Gobblegum. And people that are just really good at zombies but don't want to pay money, they're limited to 2 Liquid Diviniums per game. That's a bit odd. I would like to see them increase the cap for Liquid Divinium. They may have actually done it. Again, I'm not much of a zombies player in Black Ops 3. I've played Shadows of Evil probably a dozen times. It is a very confusing map for me. I just haven't taken the time to learn all the things that there is to learn about that map. I've been more invested in the multiplayer side of things. Of course, I imagine just like every other year, about halfway through the game's life cycle, I'm going to start getting really into zombies. But just right now, in its current state, I haven't been paying too much attention to zombies. But yeah, that seems like actually a bad system. I will agree with the people out there who have a lot of negative criticisms of these COD points and the fact that you can purchase Liquid Divinium when right now the current cap is 2. That seems kind of silly to me, making it so that people go out there and purchase as many as they want, or you can only earn 2 per game. Like, if you get up to round 20 in zombies and you get 2 pieces of Liquid Divinium, and then you continue to go on and you go up to like round 50, surely you should get more Liquid Divinium for that, because otherwise you're not earning it optimally. You're going to have to actually start farming, which are farm videos on YouTube of how to get Liquid Divinium very quickly and so on and so forth. But you shouldn't have to do that. You should be able to get it just as a passive byproduct of you playing the game. If you make it to round 20, sure, you should get your 2 Liquid Diviniums. If you make it to round 30, you should get another one. Make it to round 40, you should get another one. There shouldn't actually be a cap. And if their problem with it is maybe they're worried about people being able to farm it, like maybe if they go through and do a speed run where they open up every single door as humanly possible and maybe pack-a-punch as many things as humanly possible, different ways to farm it. Rework the system. Make it so it doesn't go like that. Make it so you earn it in a different way, and that way you can actually try and take off this artificial cap of 2, which really does seem like a low blow to zombies players. I will agree with a lot of the naysayers in that respect. It does seem like a low blow to zombies players, although at the same time, I'm not too experienced with zombies Black Ops 3, so I don't think my opinion can really hold much weight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude this video. Those are going to be my thoughts on the idea of COD points returning as an in-game currency that you can use to purchase these rare supply drops as well as Liquid Divinium. I feel as though in the multiplayer aspect, it's completely warranted. It's all just gravy, ladies and gentlemen. It is all extra. It is all extra cosmetic stuff at this point. There is no reason to believe, take off the tinfoil hats, there's no reason to believe that it's going to get any worse than just regular old cosmetic microtransactions, because if you're against the idea of cosmetic skins in a game that already has full content, that you're kind of a crazy person, I suppose, because Black Ops 3 is a game that is full of content. There's a ton of great camos already in the game. There's already a ton of great calling cards, tons of great everything. The game itself is fine. Now, if this was a game that was severely lacking content, i.e. Titanfall, like when that game first came out, there was nothing in that game. There were no weapons, there were like no camos, there was like nothing to do. And if immediately they started pushing microtransactions on us, then I could see people being upset. It's like, why are you trying to sell us content when the game itself really doesn't have enough content? But Black Ops 3 has a ridiculous amount of content. It is so much content that I don't understand how they can sell it for $60, to be perfectly frank. And I'll give you guys an idea of why they still sell Call of Duty for $60 while at the same time giving us all this content, because they make a lot of money back off of microtransactions, right? That's why they sell so many camos every single year. That's why they do these map packs, which are probably a bit overpriced. You know, you get 4 maps and a zombies map and not even a gun for $15. Maybe that's a bit overpriced. I'll admit that's probably overpriced, but at the same time, that's how they kind of make their money back, and that's kind of how they still can continue to sell a game with as much content as Black Ops 3 for only $60. Right? That's just my thought. That was just my 2 cents. What do I know? I'm just a little YouTuber just out here trying to make some content. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys all found it helpful and informative. If you did, drop me a rating. It helps the video grow. It helps my channel grow as well. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.